By looking at me, you won't think that I do the same things that any other regular teenager does. I play basketball, I play baseball, I go to the mall, I go to movies. I talk to guys and stuff, but dating is not my first priority. I go out with my friends, and I stay out with my friends, and we just do the normal teenager stuff.
I've encountered in classrooms and so on, even with professors, though they're very educated, that they see me and then naturally, it comes to them, oh, this is a Muslim woman, she must be timid, I don't know what she's doing, university, whatever. But I've encountered that a lot, even from women professors who are very, feminist and so on. They see me and they put me in a little box, but I right on the first day I often break that box because I say what I think. A lot of professors have talked to me about that they've said that they first thought that I would be the quiet type who wouldn't, talk, and most often they have to tell me to be quiet in class a lot of times.
The Muslims of Toronto are one of the largest and fastest growing communities, yet it is one of the least known and understood. We bring to you a few glimpses of Muslims today as they strive to maintain their Islamic identity while adapting to the realities of life in the 90s.
The earliest indication that we had Muslims on this continent within Canadian society was in 1871, a brave band of perhaps 13 people. My research with men from 1949 to 1969 and subsequently with women all speak to the issue of how there was an alienation. There was a lack of the kind of food that was religiously required. As the children arrived, there was a lack of places of worship, of education. There was a sense that no matter where people came from, they needed to hang together. It was an incredible variety of men. They were from Trinidad, they were from Bosnia, they were from Albania, they were from Turkey, they were from Pakistan and India. They came from all over. Out of this band emerged the nucleus that established the Jami Mosque. And in there, the women who came in, who began to establish the schooling for the kids, who produced the meals for the men so that on special days like Eids, there were a little get-together for the children, and so that they could begin to relate to the Islamic experiences. And out of that group further, they moved on so that you get the Tariq Mosque that you see so highly featured on the 401. You've got the mosque in Scarborough.
The history of the Islamic Foundation at Scarborough, in Scarborough, is the history of the expansion of the Islamic community in Canada. We started in 1960s, the late 60s, in a very humble way at the Rhodes Avenue, the old mosque, which is one of the oldest mosques established in Canada, West. This Rhodes Avenue used to serve a very modest small community of 50 or 60 people, and then gradually, as the immigration to Canada increased in the 70s, the need was felt that we need a bigger place.
The original idea of establishing an Islamic center in the city of Scarborough came to our minds in 1981. We approached the mayor, the city of Scarborough, Mr. Gus Harris, and he was very cooperative, for he traveled in the Middle East and in the Far East, and he was convinced that if we use this site on Markham and Nugget to establish this mosque, it will be a landmark in the city of Scarborough.
In a traditional Islamic community, mosque is fulfilling the need for spiritual satisfaction. And in a traditional Islamic society, we have other outlets. But here, what we need is not a mosque as such. We need a place where the spiritual, the social, the cultural, intellectual needs of the Muslim community can be satisfied, and where we can cater to the ever-growing needs of the new generation.
One of the main objectives of the Islamic Foundation is to advance the cause of Islam and to help preserve the identity of Muslims. As such, we have developed various educational programs and activities to provide a model within the Islamic Center of what a Muslim community should be. One of the great successes that we have had in the past is the involvement of women in all levels of the activities at the Islamic Foundation.
The young women of the center play an important role in educational and recreational programs. In their activities and discussions, they often focus on issues that relate to women in Islam.
This Sisters Youth Committee has started about, it really established itself just in the beginning of the year. We've done fashion shows to show girls how they can dress Islamically, but also nicely, like that clothes appeal to them. We just started a study circle for the summer. It's really helped a lot for the sisters to communicate to each other, to relate to each other. It's a place where they can open up and have questions answered and stuff, and so when they go outside, again, to school, etc., they can feel better about themselves and they know what to say when people ask them questions about their religion, etc., and they become more confident.
Okay, as you know, I'm speaking a little bit about Hazrat Aisha. She was the wife of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And one of the main things about her is that she's an excellent role model for us. She was a very strong Muslim woman, and when I say that, I mean she wasn't afraid to speak her mind when she saw something wrong. She would say it right away and change it. She often spoke. She was very, very knowledgeable. She was considered among the top scholars of the time.
You know, and learn from Aisha, because a lot of us talk about how Islam gives us our rights, but I think we have to make sure that a lot of Muslim women know that Islam gives them their rights.
1400 years ago, she was a judge, and today it's still rare when you find a woman who's a judge.
I want to ask you guys, like, okay, we know how the society sort of, well, I can't say everybody in the society, but where Muslim women are viewed here. I remember once I was with my sister in a store, and there was this man who was who offered to shine our shoes, and he would sell the product to us later. So he was shining my shoe, and he kept looking at me and you know, asking me things, but I couldn't really hear him because he was talking very low. So I just go, huh? And and then he asked my sister, do you guys live in a dungeon? Do you guys, you know? He asked us very seriously, and I said, why did you ask us that? And he said, because he thought, you know, we didn't get exposed to sunlight or something. My hearing was affected or something. And I said, no, it's just, you know, because you're talking very low, you know, get a better voice or something, right? So.
Or else they look at you and, I don't know, for some reason they feel sorry for you. They feel like,
yeah. Poor girl, you know. It's summer now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're the hijab.
Yeah.
Oh my
they look at you and you go, oh,
aren't you hot?
they look at you. No. They look at you and go. They look at you and go, your parents, right? Your parents. We live in a society ruled by fashion and beauty. And the reason why I wore hijab was to make people realize the inner self, not the outer self first. And so they would see me as my personality, not my looks.
It goes with the whole idea of a woman being an equal as a man. So that when a man talks to me, he doesn't talk to me based on the way I look and evaluate me based on that. So he can talk to me and evaluate me based on the way that I think.
Someone like me gets asked why a professional woman like myself would want to be so backward because of my dress. Am I a nun? Which I do not find offensive. And my response to that is I'm attempting, in fact, to live an attitude that goes with a dress code, which is a component of Islamic behavior and an expectation for both men and women. It is my understanding that the dress code upholds the moral fabric of a community. It distinguishes outwardly, explicitly, men and women who are Muslim from others around them. But it isn't just a dress code. It's not a national dress. It's not something that I've put on because my husband expects me to. Believe me, the last thing I would do is what my husband probably expects me to. If it is in conflict with an Islamic law or Sharia or behavior.
There is no second class in the Islamic religion. Men and women were created equally from a single soul, and God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has put responsibilities and duties on each and every one of them. They both to be rewarded for their good deeds and punished for their evil deeds equally in the hereafter. Therefore, there is no first class or second class according to color or gender or age or anything else.
A $10 million report currently done in Canada suggests that women in Canadian and North American society are severely oppressed, treated in manners that one cannot believe, and that violence against women generally is at its height. Within that context, if you look at the issue of Muslim women, I am sure that there are women who are violated. I'm sure that there are women whose rights are abused and who have no equitable representation within their homes, within the system, within the society. But to generalize that statement and to include that Muslim women who are dressed Islamically, who live within Canadian society, or who live in any part of the Muslim world are all oppressed is in fact precisely stereotypical attitude, which is so prevalent. Though women, Muslim women, whether they are in Islamic dress or not, anywhere in this world, have one thing in common. We have a faith, and within that faith, there are, within the Constitution of Islam, equitable rights, the right to education, the right to a profession, and a profession which is appropriate for both men and women, I might add, the right to voting rights. These are enshrined within the Islamic Sharia.
The early Muslim society established the very specific role of Muslim woman to be the companion and partner who will be active in every aspect of Islamic life. Now, in the medieval society, this true role model has been replaced by a very ultra-conservative vision of society. And the Islamic jurisprudence has been influenced heavily by the male chauvinistic interpretation. And now the Muslim intellectuals are calling for a new interpretation to recapture the original role of woman as established by the Quran and the Sunnah.
We are, unfortunately, under the neo-colonial influences, now fighting to reclaim our histories and our rights as they were given to us within the constitution of the Quran and Islam.
Our environment asks us, like in school, a lot, you're asked to question your faith a lot and to reason why you're a Muslim. And a lot of people start to realize that they start to question their culture, and they start to realize that, you know, maybe this isn't such a bad way of life, and maybe it's a better way of life than any other. I mean, we're free to pick and choose in North America what culture or what religion we want to associate with. Islam is a good way of life and a practical way of life, and it's compatible with any society, really.
We need to take the best of the Western experience. We need to take the best of the Eastern experience, and Islam can bridge the gap. The program of the Islamic education here would give them the universal values of Islam, the universal concepts of Islam, and help them to relate to the experience here.
As a youth in the Islamic Center, there's plenty of activities going on and plenty of groups that I can join. Currently, I'm in with the youth group. Activities here is a lot of them are sports-based, so a lot of times all the brothers will get together and play sports.
It's surprising for many people in this part of the world to realize that despite what is projected about Islam being a Middle Eastern phenomena, the largest Muslim country is Indonesia, which has over 120 million Muslims. And right now there are over 60 million Muslims in China, over 60 million Muslims in the former Soviet states.